Hiya, morning, hello, how are you? Here we go. Right, it's about 6 o'clock in the morning, it's something ridiculous. It's absolutely grim here this morning, but I think it'll get better a bit later on for the free speech event. Hello all, how are we? Bloody hell, it's kicked off this morning. Right, okay, so Rishi Sunak's made an announcement today that has put a lot of people on edge. And I can understand why, but it's not something you should be worried about too much. He said that he's going to reinforce the Equality Act, review the Equality Act, and make sure that biological reality and the protection of women and children is foremost of his mind, and the protection of belief is foremost of his mind. What he's doing, and we have to understand this fully as gay men and as individuals who think that he's doing the wrong thing, and there are many of you. So the toys are being thrown out the pram as we speak. They're all talking about the fact that there's going to be a Holocaust, and it's the genocide conversation started already. And you just have to think to yourself, these people have done nothing in terms of doing the work to understand why we've got into this situation. So I thought it might be a good idea if I just briefly try and outline to some of you who are watching this that your silence is now a problem. Okay, so let's get started, and we'll begin with one straightforward, simple fact so that you absolutely don't misunderstand where we are going with this. Okay, you cannot change your sex. Sorry, that's the truth of it. You can't. I know you might want to. I know you might think you can, but you can't. Sex is binary. There are only two sexes. If not, you can find the third gamete if you want and go and win the Nobel Prize. Despite what your average scientist will tell you, they don't know what they're talking about, right? So it's not, and that's because they've been captured, right? Now, I use this word captured all the time. People go, "What do you mean by that?" Well, whether you like it or not, we have a problem in what we would have called the gay community. They now call it the LGBTQ and sneeze and bumps daisy community. It's not a community at all, it's a constituency. There was a time when there was a community. There isn't anymore because it's been torn apart by the likes of Stonewall, the LGBT Foundation, and every other idiotic organisation that has managed to attach itself to the gender ideological and queer theory nonsense peddled by trans rights activists. So fact number one, you can't change your sex. Tough, titty, caca. No. Okay? Let's have another one. Let's do another one, shall we? Transgender doesn't exist. It's a made-up term, it's a made-up concept. And it's a made-up concept that is used to deconstruct the idea that sex is real. And the main tenet of that, as far as we're concerned as gay men, the one thing that worries us most, and gay women, the old lesbians, now, is you don't exist anymore. Because you're same-gender attracted, right? So that means you sleep with women. Kind of me surprised, gay man here. You know, I don't sleep with anybody these days. Who would? I mean, look, really? No. But, that's what they're saying. Stonewall, yep, the LGBT Foundation, every organisation that supports this shit is telling you as a gay man that you now have to include women in your dating pool. Women who think they're men, by the way. Which in most cases is often stupid girls who've got themselves involved in a cult online and therefore has been binding their breast or heading down the puberty blocker route. Okay? Fact number two. We are same-sex attracted, we are not same-gender attracted. It's fucking homophobic to say anything else. When gay men fought so that you can go out and party and dance to Donna Summer and get your bum felt, fought for their rights. They fought for the right to be treated equally and with dignity. That is not what the trans rights movement is. It's that simple. Okay? And you know this. It's not like I'm telling you something you don't know. You do know it. You're just sitting there hoping nobody notices you do because you don't want to be cancelled or picked on or made to say something that might upset somebody. Right? Okay? Well, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to upset some people. So there you go. We are not same-gender attracted. We're same-sex attracted. Gender can fuck off. So let's try a third one, shall we? Trans rights activists are the problem. People with dysphoria aren't. So let's talk about how people with dysphoria have been sidelined by this crap. I know a couple. Well, I've known more than a couple in my time, and so have you. And these are people who have dealt with or are dealing with a terribly difficult situation and a very painful mental condition. That's the only way to describe it. And in our kindness, we wanted to help, we accepted them, and we wanted to be able to support them in whatever they had to do to live their life well. You think this is about them. You are living in cloud cuckoo land. It's got nothing to do with them. Here's the current situation. Excuse me, I've got dysphoria. Let's go back a few years, yeah? That's all right. We can help with that. We'll find a way to help you. We'll see what we can do. Okay. Now we've got trans rights are human rights. Rah, rah, rah. It's all transgender instead of transsexual, which is the wording in law, by the way. We want women's spaces. We want... Right? So, that's what they're after now, is women's spaces. You're not same-sex attracted, all the crap that they do. And the person in the background who's got dysphoria is still going, excuse me, I've got dysphoria. Meanwhile, the queue fills up with LARPing kids and fetishistic men who want tits so they can wank off. Right? That's the truth of the matter. Okay? You don't like it. I know you don't like it. But you don't have to tell me, and I don't have to tell you, that we know more than a few of you who are quite happily to have their wobbly danglers groped and fiddled with while somebody taps gently at the back door, whilst you're wearing a frilly knickers, or, a bra, or, a skirt, or stockings usually, isn't it? Or a pair of kinky boots. Nobody gives a fuck. Right? But it's not an identity. It's a fetish. Right? It's not an identity, it's a fetish. So, trans rights activists are the problem, not transsexual people with dysphoria. How did this happen? Well, the Stonewall umbrella. Pop, under you go under the umbrella. Let's talk about what's under the umbrella, shall we? Well, first of all, we've got homosexual transsexuals. I know lots of you. Sorry, homosexual transvestites. I've got to get this right. I know lots of you. Don't we, boys? Yeah, okay. And we have the receipts. Many of them, okay? So we know who you are, right? That's fine. Don't care. Put your knickers on. Yep, don't care. Don't give a toss. You're not a woman, never will be. But I don't think most of you think you are, right? So there you go. That's under the Stonewall umbrella. HSTS, homosexual transvestites, cross-dressers. Then we have people who are gender fluid. Oh, I'll wear a bit of this, I'll wear a bit of that. Hello, how's your father? Any of you old enough will remember my drag act, Fanny Butter, as she was called, horrible woman. Big, blousy blonde. But of course she wasn't a woman. She was a caricature that was invented by me to raise money for Macmillan Cancer Charity, egged on by a certain person who will know if I'm talking about them right now. And it was just performative crap, which is what we used to do. You think gay men are feminine? Fucking have a look at this. Right? So that's homosexual transvestites. Drag queens, right? Not RuPaul drag queens, not the fucking clothes horses. That's a separate thing. There's a big difference between drag queens and queer performance, right? What we're seeing going in libraries is queer performance. You bet your bottom dollar. And that's got nothing to do with old school drag. What else we got under there? Well, we've now got, under this transgender umbrella, the asexuals. Can you? What rights don't you have? The right to come up to us and say, see that man over there? Yep, I'm not fucking him. I don't care. Nobody cares who you are not having sex with. Right? You ain't getting protection under the law either, because it's ridiculous. Right? You're lawfully protected because you're not fucking anyone. If you want to get fucked, try and be more attractive. Right? Try and be a nice person. And if you don't want to get fucked, shut up about it. Nobody cares. Most of us aren't getting fucked anyway. The utter bullshit of it. Right? What else we got under there? Eunuchs. Fucking eunuchs. They just uncovered a eunuch cult, cutting the cock and balls off gay men. Eunuchs. Fuck off. That's under the umbrella. What else is under the umbrella? All manner of ridiculous fetishes and gender identities. Gender identity. Let's get this absolutely straight. Gender identity is personality. Gender expression is fashion. Everything else is your own fucking problem. Right? Nobody cares. So, all these things are under the umbrella. So just to put this straight for you, if you're an alien up in space, and I'm mostly alien all the time, looking down you go, cool, fucking lots of these little creatures running around, what the hell are they? We'll call them humans. Hey, we get it started here on the old categorizations and how we're going to run a society. Right, what else we got there? Look, there appears to be two types. Right, we'll call them male and we'll call them female. Oh, yes, right, men and women then. Oh, yes, that's it. Right, okay, there's your basic categorization. What about the little ones? We'll call them children. All right, okay, and everything flows from there. Right, as far as sexuality is concerned, you are either gay, or you could be a butch gay. Bear weekend. Right? You're either gay, bisexual, or straight. Hell of a game, damn game, good game. That's all the stereotypes right there. Okay? That's all you are. Gay, bisexual, or straight. If you sleep with women, you are bisexual. If you're a gay man. No. You sleep with men. If you're bisexual, you also sleep with men. You do both, right? So gay men sleep with men, lesbians sleep with women. The idea of the cotton ceiling is a disgusting, disgusting idea. We're going to teach you how to break down the barriers. We're going to show these transgendered men how to break down the barriers. The cotton barrier of the lesbians' pants so you can get in them. Bloody grown men in dresses calling themselves lesbians. Fuck off. That's under the umbrella as well, by the way. Right? Because if you think people can change sex and you don't believe that the category of male and female and man and woman matter, then you must by default accept the fact that you, as a gay man, are going to include women in your dating pool. Get to fuck. Right? So you believe the original lie, which is that people can change sex, and they've got you by the bollocks. Not only that, they're now going into schools and telling children, telling children of 5 years old that there are 200 genders and they can choose whether they're a boy or a girl. Right? Or they're going into libraries with storybooks which tell them the same thing in their queer performance. What did you think was going to happen, you bunch of nitwits? We live in this world with people who have different beliefs to us and different ideas to us. We do not all live in a world that starts and begins with the scene. Okay? We do not all live in a world that starts and begins with what you want to be seen as by others, because you can't get your head around the fact that your identity is not defined by you, it's defined by us. Your behaviour as a social being, which you need to be because we cannot survive without one another. Your behaviour as a social being is directly related to what your identity will be. You don't choose it. What do you think this is? The Woolworths pick and mix identity counter? There's at least 40 people watching this who don't even know what Woolworths is. You can't change your sex. 3 sexualities. Gender identity doesn't exist. And here's the best one of all for me, as far as I'm concerned. They are going to stop them teaching in schools. And I want them to. I want them to, right? Because this gender identity business is dangerous for gay men, it is dangerous for women, and it is dangerous for children. And if you don't know why, you need to look. Because they will define you out of existence. You're same gender attracted now, boys. You best get used to them jigglies. Because there's narcissistic young twats out there who think if they pretend they're a bloke and bind their breast, like their breasts to the feet of some Chinese woman circa 1898 or whenever it was, that you're going to fancy them. And then when you don't fancy them, they're going to scream blue murder. All right, or when you don't treat him like a gay man in the workplace, they're going to shout, well, he doesn't treat me like a gay man in the workplace. I'm being discriminated against. No, you're not. You're a woman. Cut your nonsense. So these poor people under this umbrella, who are not under this umbrella, which are the people that have got dysphoria, are lumped in with drag queens, which is a fucking job, eunuchs. Really? Eunuchs? Transgenders, right? Drag queens. No, not happening. Okay. Then you've got the queerness. We're queer. Queer theory. I suggest that every gay man who watches and sees this does some research about what queer theory is. Because in October of 2021 or November of 2021, I can't quite remember which, Judith Butler, the high priestess of queer theory and an absolutely vile and disgusting woman who is responsible for just more than a little bit of this, reiterated to Owen Jones, who sat there like a sheep, the need to break down the barriers between adult and child. Now, for those of you over a certain age, you're sitting there going, oh God, we've been here before. Right? Because we have. We can remember pie. It's time for you to wake up and smell the coffee. It's bigger than you think, and it's more problematic than you think. You can't change your sex. People with dysphoria aren't the problem. The gender ideologists and the queer theorists are the problem. 3 sexualities. 2 sexes. If we can't define who we are as gay men or as lesbian women, we can't be protected. Gender ideology and queer theory are unreality incarnate, and you are part of that if you believe the original lie. And the original lie is people can change their sex. They can't. They can't. Speak to a few detransitioners. Watch some of the detransitioner stories. The medical scandal that's about to erupt is enormous. Enormous. Mermaid, Stonewall, the LGBT fact, the price will be paid. It will be paid for what we have done to people. The numbers are rising of those who've been physically damaged by this. And all of it starts with social transition. All of it starts with social transition. And then we've got another under the umbrella group called the AGPs, autogynephiliac men. They don't want you to know about this. They don't. Don't Google it, for fuck's sake. They don't want you to know about this. Straight men in dresses being, no. I don't know since when so many of you got invested in straight men with dresses on. I didn't, But yet a lot of you seem to be. And you seem to be because you keep quiet. I've been putting stuff on Facebook for the last week or two just to upset people. Going, right, have a look at this, have a look at this. Nobody's fucking responding to me. I've had a few messages quietly from the odd few. And I already know people that are well ahead of you on this. They know what's going on and they're involved in it. Okay? So now we've got Facebook, nothing. Nothing from any of you. That tells me you know what's going on, but you don't want to speak, right? So I suggest that you do the following, right? Say something. Put your hand up and say, I'm not same-sex attracted. That's it. Just get online today on Facebook and stick it on. I am same-sex attracted. I am not same-gender attracted. Because these queer theorists and gender ideologists can fuck off. And we can get the status quo back with their madness. Absolute insanity of it all. That's why Rishi Sunak has said what he said about the Equality Act and teaching. It's because we pushed too far. Exactly like we did in the 80s, which is why Section 28 existed in the first place. You don't want this to happen? Wake up and smell the coffee. Take some responsibility for yourself and speak up. The time for silence is over. They have been sterilising, medicating and mutilating gay and lesbian youth. I can't sit back and let that happen, and nor should you. But I'll leave that to you and your conscience.